Okay. And it should be recording. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Online Presenters, a virtual Toastmasters club. I'm your Sergeant at Arms, Dr. Sunny. Guests, please note, we love you visiting, and if you'd like to be a member of our club, you must be a current or former active member of Toastmasters International and have completed at least 6 Toastmasters official speeches. However, if you have substantial, relevant presentation experience, we welcome you to apply for membership after demonstrating your abilities in a 2 to 3 minute speech delivered during one of our club meetings. All requests for membership are subject to approval by our club members. If you have not already done so, please change your panel to ensure it displays your name and role. Hover over your video, right-click, and select Rename. Remember, please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. We have members and guests from many countries throughout the world. As a professional organization, we ask that you please be aware of language or word usage that may be considered offensive or otherwise insensitive due to cultural differences. Please note that we will be recording the meeting. Your video and audio contribution may be used for club marketing purposes. And now, please help me welcome to the virtual stage our club president, Marianne Grady. Welcome, Marianne.
Thank you, Dr. Sunny. So nice to see everybody tonight. Welcome to Online Presenters, where we serve those who give online presentations professionally or those who aspire to do so, whether that means public webcasts, live video, internal company video conferences, or screen sharing sessions. If you do those things, you are in the right place. Now, tonight, we have an interesting meeting, but before we get started, I want to remind you that at next week's meeting, we're going to do an educational session on parliamentary procedure. I'm going to announce it again with the presenters' names and all that at the end, but I just wanted you to put it on your calendar if that is something that interests you. Tonight, please put your hands together for our Toastmaster of the day, the amazing Ms. Joni Renee Laidlaw.
Thank you, President Marianne. Now, normally we have a tip of the day later in the meeting, but I'm going to start with it. And the tip of the day is sometimes everything goes wrong. The speakers fall out. You just happen to be having tech issues on the day that everything else goes wrong. So here is my tip. Do it anyway. So that's our tip of the day for today. And I know it's out of segment, but in lieu of, I'm going to be glitchy, but I'm going to do it anyway. Welcome everybody to our meeting, and our theme today is Deep Blue, Building a Chess Master. Now, I know most of us are wondering why I'm saying that, because it was in the news the other day that somebody who couldn't speak a language won Scrabble. And it got me thinking, well, what happens if we have a computer as a chess master? And guess what? It did happen. In 1977, IBM actually did build one called Deep Blue. Now, it did something that no machine did before. It actually beat a chess champion. It had a victory in the 6-game marathon against Gary Kasparov, and I probably said that wrong, but hey, Kasparov. Now, why is that amazing? Because it shows that maybe the person who programmed the computer could not beat the chess champion, but guess what? Artificial intelligence could simulate human thinking to actually beat a chess champion. Now, I don't know if that should make you scared or hopeful, But either way, I think that is an amazing feat. For this meeting, we will be having an amazing feat. And to help us make sure that we have an excellent meeting, we have various role players. I will start with our timer, Sunny Fridge, who will explain her role.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. As timer, I will time the prepared speeches, table topic speakers, and the evaluations. I'll also alert each speaker of the time they have left using the green, yellow, and red cards. For 5 to 7 minutes, at 5 minutes, I will show the green card. At 6 minutes, I will show the yellow card. At 7 minutes, I will show the red card. It will remain, and you should finish within 30 seconds in order not to be disqualified. For table topic speeches, they will be 1 to 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I will show the green card. At 6 minutes, I will show the yellow card. At 7 minutes, I'll show the red card, and it will remain. Please finish your speech. And last but not least, the speech evaluations, which are 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I will show the green card. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I will show the yellow card. And at 3 minutes, I will show the red card. It will remain. You should finish your speeches within the 30 seconds in order to be eligible for our contest, or rather our best speech evaluator. When called upon, I'll give my report. Back to you.
Thank you to our timer for so aptly describing the role. We have a number of guests here today, so I'll go into more detail as it relates to how our meeting normally flows, just for that sake. I know I'm going to be doing some of these today because whenever you get flustered, you always end up
Oops.
Exactly. And today, the person who will be checking that is our very own Jim Barber. Jim, can you explain what the counter does in a meeting?
With pleasure, Madam Toastmaster. As the counter this evening, I am the Wizard of Oz. I will be listening to everyone's presentations, whether they're speaking or table topics or whatever, listening for the dreaded crutch word. That is when you're saying or ah or or basically making an utterance when no utterance is needed. I will be making a note of them, and I will list those rabbit offenders at the end of the meeting.
Hopefully, I won't be a rabid offender today when it comes to the Oz. And also, I hope that I speak good. To cover that role, we have our grammarian today, who is Madam President Marianne Grady. Madam Grammarian, there you go. Can you please explain what a grammarian does in a Toastmasters meeting?
I would be happy to. I will be listening for both good and bad grammatical use. I will also be looking for terrific vocabulary, and I hope that you will up your game tonight, so I have a lot to talk about. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
This one doesn't coach him. It serves a purpose. The word of the day would also be, I believe, introduced by you, Madam Grammarian, or would you like me to introduce the word of the day for today?
It would be great if you could do it, Joni.
Okay, our word of the day today is formidable. Now, formidable is an adjective, and it means to inspire fear or respect through being impressively large, powerful, intense, or capable. Technology today is my formidable foe, but I will win. And that's how we use it in a sentence. And I look forward to us using the word of the day today in our sentences. Now, I know I may not unless it serves a purpose, but I am going to glitch. And our physical glitch monitor is our watcher. And our watcher today is Kai. Kai, I get a reprieve because this is technology's fault and they're a formidable foe, but let me know what a watcher does in our meeting.
Right, so today I am going to look at all your presentations, all your formidable presentations, and observe, evaluate in terms of what you do visually and virtually, the visuals, the lighting, the background, and provide a comment at the end of the session. Joni, back to you.
Thank you for that, Kai. And again, I get a reprieve on this one. It's not my fault. It is technology's fault. I blame them. Our next monitor is our chat monitor. But since he's doing a dual role, I'll let him introduce both of them. He's our chatty vote counter in the person of David Carr. David, can you chattily explain what you will be doing while counting our votes today?
Well, I will be watching for the back channel communications that occur in the chat. And if necessary, I will bring the back channel into the foreground to let the Toastmaster of the day know if something is horribly going wrong in the chat channel. Also, if there are questions for speakers, I can perhaps relay them along and just keep track of anything interesting that is posted in the chat. I will also be doing the vote counting role for any votes that are to be cast today. I will give you a digital ballot to use. I'm actually going to be testing out a new version of the digital ballot. So if it blows up, let me know. But it actually should be easier because you just have one link. I don't have to post a link for every event during the evening. You'll get one and you will visit that, and it's going to work wonderfully. I'm sure of it. Sort of, kind of sure. Anyway, Toastmaster of the day.
If my glitches are anything to go by it, it's a formidable foe. But you know what? I believe in you, David. You can do it. For our next segment, it's our better speaking segment. Now, today, we have a formidable speaker, not just one, but two, who stepped in, and we will see their amazement. Now, Graham is a speaker who has been a Toastmaster for 40 years, so he should be able to communicate, right? But speaking, like everything else, is a formidable foe, and I think he would like to think so. But what he's communicating is not necessarily what us as the audience are hearing. So he's doing the My Communication Style project today, where he will be asked to consider his personal communication style. With his speech entitled Failure to Communicate, please help me welcome distinguished Toastmaster Graham Carr.
What we've got here is a failure to communicate. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters guests, that, of course, is a line from the 1960s film Cool Hand Luke, and it is one of the most recognizable lines from modern cinema. But it is also an interesting example of failure to communicate in itself. What am I talking about? In the table topics session at one of my brick and mortar clubs, the questions revolved around favourite movies. We've all seen that happen in Toastmasters clubs, but the problem is many of the movies that were mentioned were unfamiliar to many of that club's members. Why? Well, about half of the club are migrants from Asia, and those members are simply not as familiar with Hollywood as those of us raised in the West. And the same applies with table topics along song lyrics and TV shows, and well, you get the point. So some of my pop culture references, and those are the go-to staple in my speech presentations, they simply don't resonate in that club. What it means is that when I'm writing a presentation for that particular club, I have to modify my speech writing style and also my delivery. It is a formidable challenge. And of course, I don't always get it right. I mean, at a member of one club, I had an evaluator who said she thought I had a bombastic style. Now, I gather that she thought that I came on too strong, which is one definition of bombastic. But it might have been that she thought I used too many highfalutin words that I didn't really understand. And that's another definition of bombastic. But in any case, it was something of a wake-up call to me. You see, I've always thought that my style was warm and friendly. But if somebody else thinks I'm being bombastic, that's something that I need to think about. And while I know that my pace is sometimes too fast, primarily because I try to put too much information into too short a time, as a professional newsreader, I thought that I still remained understandable. But what if I was wrong? What if my communication style, instead of sounding educated, came across as know-it-all? What if, instead of being hail fellow, well met, I came across as smarmy? What if what I thought I was communicating was not what my audience was getting? What if what we've got is a failure to communicate? Time to hit the pause button then and rethink. For me, the primary function of communication, of speech writing, of all presentation, of training is simple. I want to get ideas from my head into my audience's heart, not just into their heads, but into their hearts, into their guts, into that place deep inside where ideas take root and become a part of the very essence of the listener, of the audience. I want my ideas to germinate in their very being, blossoming like a flower, and yeah, there I go again, overcomplicating the issue. Shouldn't I just keep it simple, stupid? I mean, after all, that's the advice that stood the test of time. Churchill's famous speech, for example, was a masterclass in simplicity. There's hardly a spare syllable when he says, "We shall fight them on the beaches. We shall fight them on the landing grounds. We shall fight them in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight them in the hills. We shall never surrender." Simplicity itself. So maybe I should strive for simplicity. But the problem is, I genuinely love the language. I am entranced with the way that it soars and it glides and it dives. How, to paraphrase a Streisand song, its spirits rise and its dance is unrehearsed. To limit myself to the mundane, to the dull, to the plain seems almost a crime. After all, the Gettysburg Address could just as easily have begun 87 years ago. We began an experiment in a new type of government. But that does not have the same ring as 77 years ago. Our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. That's just so much stronger. Besides which, to dumb down my speech writing, to make it bland and easily digestible, sells my audience, it sells you short. It suggests that you're not smart enough or not engaged enough to contextualize, to follow my reasoning, even if the material is challenging. And so, Toastmasters and friends, I've decided I'm not going to change who I am as a speaker. I am not going to start delivering see spot run spot run presentations. And that's a cultural reference if you've never come across the primers that teach you how to read. But I am going to deliberately slow down my pace, particularly when my audience is not Australian and for whom my accent may be a little jarring. I am going to ensure that there are contextual clues that will reach across cultural barriers. If those shared experiences that we use as shorthand in speeches aren't truly shared, then I will try to provide the background to fill in the gaps. I started this presentation with slowing down, giving background to cultural memes, and trying to be a little less bombastic. So what we have here is an attempt to communicate more effectively. Did it work? I'll find out from my evaluator, I guess. Madam Toastmaster.
Wow, thank you for that formidable speech. Graham, would you believe that was on short notice? I won't communicate that one. How do you know you're a formidable speaker? It's not that you can step in at a moment's notice. No, we get that all the time here at Online Presenters. It's when you can show up as a guest to a club, and when asked, step up and say, I'm ready. Now that, like his speech title, shows the power of purpose. Please help me welcome Ruben Samuel, Power of Purpose.
All right. The power of purpose. 3 tips to help you discover your life purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever felt like something is missing in your life? Have you ever felt like you're succeeding, but you're not truly find fulfillment in your life? Well, today, I'm going to share with you 3 tips that helps you discover your life purpose. One of the quotes that I live by, it says, the greatest failure in life is to succeed in something you were not born to do. How many people are doing things in their life that were not born to do that? That's the greatest failures that any human beings can have. In this speech, you're going to see how purpose aligns with success. Moving to the United States from a third world country, my dream was to come here, work hard, get a good job, and go to school. After I graduated from high school and went to college, and I started feeling a certain uncertainty in my life. I wasn't getting fulfilled. And I quickly started to drinking and partying. But deep inside, I knew I was born to do some things better. And that's when the journey of purpose begins. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to share with you today that your purpose is the more important things in your life. Everyone was born for a purpose. So there's something you were born to do. And there's another quote that says, when purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. Once you don't know the purpose of something, so you have no choice than to abuse it. So let's dive in how to discover your life purpose. Number 1, your purpose is your passion. What gets you excited? What do you love doing? What's something that you're really passionate about? When you feel like you passionate about something, your life become better. You get more energy. That's the tips number 1 for your purpose. When you find something you're passionate about, your life feel formidable. So you wake up every day and smiling. Tips number 2. What's come easy to you? What are something that come natural to you? What skills you possess that others admire? What is something that comes so easy that you have confidence? That is your purpose. So look for, number 1, your passion, the things that you are passionate about. And number 2, look for things that come easy to you. Are you guys ready for number 3? If you're ready, say aye. If you're ready, raise your hand. Say aye. Tips number 3. Your purpose is what you dreamed about as a little child. What did you want to become when you grow up? I want you to close your eyes for a second. Just remember, when you was a little child, what was the dream that you have? the things that you wanted to become. What was that? That is your purpose. I want you to go back being that little child. And that is your life purpose. And when you discovered the purpose for your life, that's when life start making sense. That's when everything's come easy to you. I'm doing everything that I'm doing today because I discovered my life purpose. I wrote 2 books about purpose. I'm here speaking because that is part of my purpose. So that's the power of purpose. Like once you discover that, everything gonna start making sense for you. So I want everybody to say, I was born on purpose. Say, I was born on purpose.
Purpose.
I was born on purpose.
With a purpose.
With a purpose.
And for a purpose.
And for a purpose.
All right. So I'll leave you with this. There's so many definitions of success. So many people think success is maybe making a lot of money, or maybe success is having a good jobs. Maybe success is buying a new house. But I want to share with you today that I want everybody to write this down. So success is discover the purpose for your life and fulfill it before you die. So that's the true definition of success. So success is discover the purpose, the reason you were created, and you fulfill that before you die. That is success. If you're looking at purpose, it's what the reason something was created. Think about if you have a flower, a book of flower, and then you put it in your living room, and then you never use it. If you have a piano, there was a story about a man, he has a piano. He put it in his living room, and he never touched the piano. So this piano is a failure because it's not fulfilled the reason it was created. So today is success is your purpose. And back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Wow. Well, you know what? Now I know why he was formidable and decided that he was going to step up to do this, because that did definitely demonstrate the power of purpose here today. We're headed into the next segment of our meeting, which is the table topics segment. Now, have you ever stood there with a failure to communicate? And because of that, you have your power of purpose, but you really have no way of getting out what you need to say? Well, this is where we practice with various questions. Everybody is a formidable challenger, taker of our table topics. And today, our table topics master is Dr. Andrew Burns. Andrew, are you ready to teach everybody how to impromptu speak?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Andy Byrne, and I am going to be in charge of this segment of our meeting, which is called Table Topics or Impromptu Speaking. I'm also going to try to weave in some engagement. The way you engage is I'm going to ask a question, think about your answer, but there's going to be some general questions as well. And you can direct message me, and I'll mention at the end who won that particular contest for that question. So here we go with the first one. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs were produced as a movie by Disney in 1937. A live action one is coming out very soon next year. Put as a direct message the 7 names of the 7 dwarfs that helped Snow White. And I'll announce at the end the first person that got all 7 correct. The question to you all is, beside those 7, if you were the 8th friend, what would your name be? And this question goes to Andrei Smolenko.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Andrew. If you could repeat the question, please.
The topic is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. If you were a joiner to that group, what would your name be as a member of the now 8 dwarfs?
That's the wonderful question about Snow White and Seven Dwarfs. I just want to see rounds of hands that everyone is familiar with the story. So I wouldn't need to retell the story again, please. So I see, yes, most of the people have heard of the story of the beautiful Snow White falling asleep and dwarfs taking care of the Snow White. And all dwarfs that have a purpose. Most of them can be divided in individuals or some profiles that would fit a certain type of man who would want to take care of that beautiful Snow White. They have a mischievous one, they have a smart one, and the grumpy, and probably all sorts. However, at the same time, I would prefer to join a group as a mysterious one. A mysterious dwarf number 8, who could change into any dwarf he would want to, depending on his mood. For example, today, I would love to join a grumpy club, and I would keep my grumpy mate company. Tomorrow, I'll be the smart one, and I'll send all the dwarfs working in mines, and we can stay home and have a cup of tea. However, the other day, I would probably want to spend some time one-to-one with Snow White, just getting to know her, perhaps. Because I'm not sure if any of those dwarfs had those ideas, but I do. This is why I can see myself joining the group of the dwarfs, being a mysterious one. Speaking of Snow White, I think she would benefit from having a soulmate and someone who could perhaps share her mood swings from time to time, console her when she feels alone, and most importantly, bring all the 7 dwarfs back, because we need them. Back to you, Andre.
Thank you very much. The next question is this. Humans are the only animals that cry. Tears flow from the glands underneath the eyelid through the tiny tear ducts, being released as the muscles in the eyes tense up. A sad story is called a tearjerker because it makes us cry. Sometimes funnier, joyful situations can also make us cry. Here is the question. What was something that made you laugh so hard you cried? And this one I will give to Sherry Blake. What was something that made you laugh so hard that you cried?
Thank you so much for that question, Andrew. It's so interesting that you ask what made me laugh so hard that I cried. I love that type of humor, the type of humor that has me crying so much, I'm using my hand to wipe away the tears. Now, you asked me to give you an example, and I can't quite think of anything right now, but I do know that feeling of when something is so funny that I'm crying, my stomach is hurting, and I need tissue or a napkin to wipe away those tears. That often happens with my family and I. That's why I love my family so much, because we are a group of relatives that can just get together and always have fun, always laugh and cry tears of joy. And this extends to not just my immediate family, but also my extended family. But I'm still trying to think of something because so I will say this. I think I had mentioned to you all that I am a big TikTok fan. And I love to watch TikTok videos before going to bed. And it's not so much the video that has me crying, Do you all know that the comment section is very funny? People have such a great sense of humor. So I will watch a video that is apparently funny and entertaining, but I have to say, the comments typically have me in tears. And once again, I cannot think of anything specific. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
Thank you very much. You were formidable in answering that question. Our next question will be geared towards those geeks amongst us. In 1938, Action Comics introduced Superman, the first superhero. He had X-ray vision, superhuman strength, and the ability to fly. There's going to be a new Superman coming out in 2025. But the question for you is this: if you could be empowered with one superhuman ability, what ability would you choose and why? And stick to the DC comics as opposed to the Marvel comics, which has the X-Men and things like that. Within the genre of DC comics, what one superpowered ability would you want to choose and why? And this one goes to Marianne.
Well, if I'm being honest, I don't know the difference between Marvel and DC, so you have to take what you get when it comes to me. But the thing that I think I would like is to be able to read people's real thoughts. Now, I like this idea because I think many people, in an effort to be politically correct or to not hurt somebody's feelings, don't really say what they're thinking. So you really don't understand what's motivating them and what makes them tick. So I would love to have that skill so I could perhaps gain a better understanding of the people that I'm communicating with. Because, as we said before, a failure to communicate is not a good thing. We want to be able to understand the motivations and things that drive the people that are in our lives. So I think that would be it. And back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Okay, here's an engagement question for everybody else to direct message to me. Name 5 of the most prominent DC action heroes, 5 of the most prominent DC action heroes, and just direct message to me, and I'll let you know who the first one to hit those 5 characters are when I sum up the whole meeting. Next question is this: if you could require everyone to read just one book, what would it be? If you could require everyone to read just one book, what would it be? Joe, are you willing to take a question?
Sure. I'm happy to. Thank you, Andrew. I think in this day and age, especially in the US, financial independence and financial matters is of utmost importance. At the end of the day, we go to work, we come home, we do that for 20 plus years, and then we raise our kids, we send them over to college, and we used to think, we look forward to retirement. But the reality today is that a lot of us are anxious about that, because when we look at our 401k, when we look at our bank account, there's usually not enough gas in the tank for the next 20 years when it's supposed to be our golden years, when it's supposed to be time to relax and enjoy life. There's not usually enough funds to do that. And so one book that I really recommend that everybody read to really take control of their finances and hopefully get folks interested in sort of taking control of their financial destiny is a book called The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. Benjamin Graham is known as the father of value investing, which is a specific school of investing. But I think even for someone who's not familiar with investing, it is a good book to just read, to just get a very basic understanding of how our financial markets work, how our stock market work, and why it is actually very, very important for everyone to participate in it in order to enjoy the tremendous amount of wealth that's being created in this country. So that's one book that I recommend everybody reads. Back to you, Andrew.
Thank you very, very much. Next question, probably the last one, so we have time for the evaluations, is this. Roller coaster fans had their ups and downs since 1870, when an abandoned mine train in Pennsylvania was used to carry thrill seeker passengers up and down the mountain. Today, coasters are even more daring, with speeds up to 120 miles an hour and drops of 400 feet or more. The question is, what is the most adventurous ride you have ever taken? And this one goes to our formidable VPE, Joni Laidlaw.
The most adventurous ride I have ever taken.
Correct.
Just playing with a beyond camera count. Just a question. I can say that when it comes to movement, a bigger coward you cannot find. I do not like to go fast. I do not like to go high. And I'm the person who is holding on, going, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. Based on that, everything I would discuss would probably be psychological and not physical. Because mentally, I have the fortitude to be formidable no matter the situation. But let me be honest, that when it comes to being in an actual vehicle going too fast, I am not the person, no matter how good of a driver you are. I will make sure that confidence is not instilled in your abilities because I am going to freak out. Slow and steady wins the race was always what I said when it came to movement. But when it comes to the actual roller coaster of life, that I think is honestly the most adventurous ride I've ever been on. Because for me, every single time I had to face life, it was always an adventure. It was always a roller coaster barreling through life. But I always get the chance to say, I did it anyway. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thanks for being so formidable. And in this section, just to let you know, we have a winner on 2 levels. Sherry Blake is very knowledgeable because she got the answers to the 7 Dwarfs and the characters in DC Comics right away, seconds. So she gets both points, and congratulations, Sherry. Back to you, Journal Evaluator.
I believe that was me. It's not General Evaluator yet. So I will take control of the virtual space. And thank you, Andy, for such a fabulous round of table topics. I wanted Sherry's question, just saying. Now, before I turn over to our General Evaluator, I'm just going to state that the Deep Blue team had an ambitious goal. It was to develop a computer so powerful that it could beat the world's best human chess players. Now, Deep Blue's first major test did occur in February 1996, and I stated they did beat the chess champion. But let me be honest, that was only in 1 round, because in 6 games held in Philadelphia, they won the first game, which marked the first victory by the computer against the reigning world champion. But after all, the human won 4-2. So the IBM team set about working to improve Deep Blue for a rematch. They improved the database dealing with chess endgames. They created more powerful evaluation functions for chess positionings, hired additional chess grandmasters to advise the team, and developed a method to disguise the computer's strategy. The upgrades not only enhanced Deep Blue, but also led to better training tools for chess players in the years to come. So the artificial intelligence or the computer system turned around to actually help the humans who were involved. Now, after that, Deep Blue is now retired. And if you ever are in Washington, D.C., you can drop by the Smithsonian to say hi, if that's something you would be interested in. So with all of those fun facts on how great it is that a computer could beat a human in chess, and oh wow, the amazing things that could possibly occur, and how much innovation drives innovation even in human abilities. With that, I will turn over to our general evaluator to allow us to innovate through human evaluation. Over to you, our general evaluator, Jerry Blake.
Thank you so much, Joni. I appreciate that. Well, good evening, everyone, and Toastmasters and guests. So as your general evaluator, my role is to assess the overall quality of today's meeting. I'm going to recognize the strengths and identify areas of improvement at the end. I have a dedicated team assisting me this evening, and I will now call on them for their reports. Our first evaluator, Asil, will evaluate Graham's speech. Asil, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters. I really enjoyed Graham's formidable, not bombastic speech today. Having known him for a long time, I can see how much he has improved. And this speech was a great example of that progress. And he certainly met the purpose of the project, recognizing his communication styles, understanding how it affects his audience, and be efficient. His speech was well structured, and it was easy to follow. He started with a famous line from Cool Hand Luke to highlight communication failures. He kept the theme throughout his speech and brought up to the beginning, from the end to the beginning, to feel complete. His message was clear, his voice was loud enough, and his pacing was good, except when he cited Churchill. He sped up a little bit. Taking a short pause and slow down would be great when you cite somebody's quotes. One small things to watch, your glasses reflection. So maybe you need to adjust your computer so we could clear your eyes. We could see your eyes clearly. And gestures, you sometimes used not purposefully, but one time you used it very beautifully when you said, I love the language, and you showed how soaring, and your voice softened. It was almost like you were singing. That was beautiful. And overall, it was a great speech. It was formidable to listen to you. And thank you so much for making your commitment to pace down and be attentive to your audience. That is a great dedication to effective communication. Thank you so much, Graham. It was really enjoyable to evaluate you.
Thank you so much, Cecile, for that insightful evaluation. I'm sure Graham can appreciate the feedback, and so can everyone else. Our second evaluator is Andriy Smolenko, and he will give feedback to our second speaker, Ruben Solomon. Andriy, the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator, online presenters, guests, and most importantly, Ruben. What a speech. I'm not sure if everybody knew, but you jumped literally at this opportunity a few minutes before our meeting started. You saw the opportunity, you could deliver your message in this powerful, the power of purpose speech, and you did it. So I salute you. You started with a very unusual setting right in the middle of the street, and then you drawn me with your extraordinary ability to really inspire, really to beam all that energy and beam all that purpose that you have already found into the camera. I just was mesmerized by whole the story and seeing that guy was really purposely talking with all the audience participation, using quotes and structuring your speech in a very, very approachable manner. You told us from outset what is your speech is going to be about. Who doesn't want to find those 3 tips to discover your purpose in life? Then you moved us into your childhood when you moved into the United States as migrants, and you touched a little bit on your backgrounds. Then again, you used the participation from the audience to help you throughout the speech. 3 tips, that's what I'm gonna take away with me after this meeting tonight, is that if you want to discover your passion in life or the power of your purpose, then first look into your passion, what you're passionate about. Number 2, what comes easy, natural to you. Number 3 is what you dreamt as a little child. So well done, carefully crafted with powerful message. The only thing I would like to see, perhaps in the next speech, is how using all those 3 tips, you've changed your life, or you impacted life of other people. Perhaps you use the power of 3 that you gave us to help a little child in your disadvantaged area. Or perhaps you turn yourself around. Or perhaps you really got inspired from someone else. So seeing the practical approach of what you preach would make me even more converted, more believed in what you say. Overall, carefully structured speech with powerful message, you deliver what you told us from the outset, using audience participation, energy. Well, hopefully, I'll come back with my power of purpose very soon too. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much for that insightful evaluation. Next, I will call on our functionary team. Our timer is Sunny Fridge, and she will give us her timing report. Sunny.
Thank you, Madam Timer. Timing today was so formidable for me trying to work my technology, but I did it, and I have entered all of the information in the chat. In a nutshell, everyone did well on their time. I would time Graham 6:28 in his speech, prepared speech. Ruben 6 minutes and 28 seconds. For our table topics, Andre 2:11, Sherry 2 minutes and 5 seconds, Marianne 1 minute 7, Joe Yang 1 minute and 54 seconds, and Joni Laidlaw, she came under time as well. And our 2 speech evaluators, time was no formidable foe for them. Asil 2 minutes and 59 seconds evaluating Graham, and Andriy Smolenko evaluated Ruben in 3 minutes and 15 seconds. So they all have made the vote. Back to you. Hello,
Thank
did you hear me? Oh, okay.
yes, I
Yay!
next our counter is Jim Barber, and he will give us his filler word report. Jim?
With pleasure, Madam General Evaluator. There are two fundamental styles of counters in Toastmasters. There is the dedicated perfectionist who make a note of every offending word, every filled pause, every unneeded word, every filler word that someone could introduce. And then there are the relaxed counters who recognize that giving the occasional filled pause is a natural part of conversation, and consequently they note only those excessive uses when it becomes a distraction. They're both fine, but I belong to the second class of counters. Consequently, I had a very easy job tonight. No one used filled pause or filler words excessively to the point that it was distracting. Everybody did a good job, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much for that report. Next, our grammarian, Marianne Grady, will give us her language observations.
Well,
Marianne?
thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Tonight, there were not really any big faux pas with regard to the English language. Sil made a couple, but she actually corrected them before she was done. So, kudos to you. But some of the things that I found appropriate or really stood out to me, Joni said, do it anyway. She used the word flustered. Jim used the title Wizard of Oz, which I've heard before, but I always like it. Let's see. David said back channel communication. In Graham's speech, he said, from my head to the audience's heart. I really felt that helped me picture things. And he used the term cultural barriers, which I liked. He used the word bombastic, and that he said he loved the language. Now, Ruben talked about the journey of purpose and how it begins. Andre, you started 3 different sentences with the word perhaps, and I loved it because it really gave a lot of continuity and flow to your evaluation. And Sunny said, no formidable foe. I like that. And many people use the word formidable tonight, but I will caution you all to make sure you're using it with the correct meaning. Some people are just trying to fit it in there, but it doesn't really make sense. So make sure you're looking at that definition before you start using it. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much for that. And thank you for bringing up the word of the day and how sometimes we can just throw that word out there and it may not fit. So I do appreciate that. Next, our watcher. I have Kai down for our watch. Yep, Kai. Is it? I'm sorry. Am I pronouncing it right?
Yes,
Yes.
you're
Kai.
right.
Thank
Yep.
you.
So I think that today's presenters are very lively, enthusiastic, and engaging. So there's a lot of good energy today. Yeah, and in terms of the background, I realized and I noticed that it's basically clear, uncluttered, and so I didn't see anything outrageous. So I think that's actually good, very professional, and even some of the speakers actually put in pictures that are slightly related to their presentation topic in, say, communication skills, and there was actually a mic and speakers at that backdrop. So I think that actually was good. And table topics as well. There was actually a good, very colorful background, which is actually different from the rest. So I think all these were actually good things that the speakers, the presenters actually did for today's session. So good job, everyone.
Thank you, Kai, for your insights. Next is our chat monitor, David Carr, and he will give us his he is our wait, I said he's our chat monitor, so he will give us his report. Thank you, David.
Yeah, okay. All right. We had encouraging commentary in the chat. We had Joe shared a link to, I believe it's The Intelligent Investor, the book that he mentioned, so that if you'd like to look that up and become a more intelligent investor, that resource is there waiting for you. You know, I don't know if I'm that much of a fan of the bots in the chat, particularly when they're posting that everybody's behind on their subscription for they've run out of the recording limits. So the bots are a little bit intrusive. Dr. Burns shared several of these poster images of different things that you can learn as a speaker or a leader. Frankly, I personally, I would rather have maybe one of those posted per meeting with some explanation about why we should look at it, why it's relevant in the meeting, because I tend not to click on file attachments or images or anything like that unless I know why I am supposed to click on it. So that's just a little bit of feedback from me, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, David. And back to you again, because you were the vote counter. So David will share with us the results.
Indeed, I will. The formula I've been following is that I'm working backwards through the meeting. So we'll go to Evaluator. Best Evaluator today, Andrei Smolenko. Best Table Topics. One of our guests, Joe Yang. That does officially mean that you have to join, Joe, so that you can get yourself officially on board here. And the best speaker of the evening goes to Graham Cairns. Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you for that. Now for my general evaluation. This meeting was definitely engaging and obviously always well organized. The evaluations were again insightful, and one thing I do want to note is that the meeting did start a little late, and that was due to extended introductions. So I would definitely say that when we do the introductions, that we kind of keep an eye on the time to make sure that we start on time. Overall, it was a great meeting, and I appreciate everyone's contributions this evening. I would like to return the meeting over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Sherry, for such a great job as General Evaluator. Well organized. It was until everything went. But fortunately, we got back together and everything turned out great. If when you evaluated, it seemed well organized, which is the goal of why we do Toastmasters. And with that, after talking about how amazing it is when technology helps humans become better, humans humaning in a human space, using technology, sometimes not, over to our president, Marianne Grady.
Well, thank you, Joni. Wonderful job tonight. And I know you too stepped in at the last minute. So congratulations on a wonderful job. Now I'd like to just stop and say hello to our guests and visit a little bit. Ruben, you jumped in with both feet tonight. Well, how did you enjoy your experience at the club tonight?
I mean, it was very good, very entertaining, and very I would say very welcoming. And thank you for for giving me the opportunity to speak. It was very good. There's a lot of learning, so I'm looking forward to continue being part of this. It was very good, very very good information. It was amazing. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And we really appreciate you jumping in. And what a great speech tonight.
No problem. Thank you.
Ron, are you there? Let's see, I think he dropped. Okay. Sheba, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I just enjoyed listening to everyone's speeches. I was invited by Ruben um, to observe this speech, and I love it. I love what you guys are doing here, and I think that it's amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we enjoy having visitors, and you're welcome to come back anytime. Now, Kai, are you still a visitor?
Yes, I'm still a visitor. I
Okay,
have
well,
yet done the presentation,
tell me
so
about your experience tonight.
well, it has always been consistently good and very informative topics, and I always like the actually I always like the introduction because there's always a very good theme from a couple of weeks chocolate, King Martin Luther King, then today it's Valentine's Day discussion. So every week there's always something very relevant that we think of and we get to speak about, and I think that's excellent. And of course I learn a lot from the speakers, all of you, and that's amazing.
Well, thank you for coming, and I hope that you're going to join us very soon. Now, Joe, how about you? What was your experience this evening?
Thank you, Marianne. I've been to this club several times already, and as always, I think the meetings are great. What I love about this club is really two things. One is, everybody gets a chance to speak, and the table topics are always very interesting, and it really forces me to kind of exercise my impromptu public speaking muscles. But at the same time, I think what I really love about this club is how supportive everyone is, and I think that is crucial to, at least for me, to developing my public speaking skills is, having, that supportive team behind me, knowing that, folks are going to give me the right kind of guidance, but at the same time, be very supportive when, I do stumble across, along the way. So once again, I think it's a great meeting, and thank you everyone.
Well, one thing I've always found is that every single person wants you to do good.
Yeah.
And they want to help you. They want you to succeed. And for me, who when I first started was extremely nervous, that was really very helpful once I learned that. So, it's great to have you with us, and I hope you'll join us again. Now, with that, I'm going to just make one announcement. Next week's meeting, we're going to have parliamentary procedures and educational session, and that will be with Barbara Proctor and Penelope Bohm. And I expect that they will do a wonderful job with this topic. And Joni always wants me to have you sign up. So go to the sign up page and get out there so Joni doesn't have to chase us down. I just went in and put a few in advance now, so I'm not just doing it meeting by meeting. So I suggest that you try doing that too, because we're all trying to get ahead here.